Hello and welcome to the domain, and that means you are here to talk about Thor, Love, and Thunder. This is the spoilery video, so if you have yet to see it, do not watch this video. There is a non-spoiler video that's been out since opening weekend. So if you're watching this, you are watching it from the future. I literally just left the movie theater about 20 minutes ago, long enough for me to come home, get my setup set up, do the pre-video, send it to editor Brian, collect my thoughts for a minute, and here we are. I literally just saw the movie, and let me tell you, like I say in my non-spoilery video, this gets a 5 out of 5 lightning bolts. I have always loved the Thor movies, though, and this one is not an exception. I don't know where to start except for at the beginning. So it definitely starts off with Thor just kind of like catching you up. It's a narration by Korg, and I absolutely love Korg as a character. In the comic books, he's one of those characters that's just kind of like in the background. But Taika Waititi definitely makes him his own, and I have so much more to say on that moving forward. However, it starts off with Taika Korg giving kind of like a backstory of Thor, and then he kind of talks about Jane for a little bit. And then it gets into how Thor's just wishing that someone would say that they need him. Intercut to Star-Lord being like, Thor, we need you. We're all going to die. This is a terrible battle. We need you to come in and help, bud. So Thor, has this badass scene where he takes out this whole army, wrecks the entire holy citadel that he was supposed to protect, yada, yada, yada. Thor's saves the day. Oh, shit, I jumped ahead of myself. So Gore the Godslayer gives his whole opening with him trying to protect his daughter in the middle of a desert, and she literally dies from heat exhaustion and stroke. Him praying for water, praying to his God. He's wearing, the God symbol around his neck, and nothing, no help ever comes until, he buries the daughter, and then all of a sudden he starts hearing this voice calling out to him. So he crawls on his hands and feet, and then hands and knees, and finally gets to this oasis where his specific god had just finally slayed, like, the shadow. I don't remember what name they give him. It's a very brief throwaway. But he's got the Necroblade, and the Necroblade can kill gods. So basically this was the Necroblade choosing Gore to pick up its dirty work. Fantastic stuff. Gore kills his god, renounces him. Thus we have the plot of the movie. So now we move forward. We get back to Thor. They finish their little war. The high priests of the planet award Thor with Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder, the giant goats, which I like the fact that they were brought into this movie. It's only mildly upsetting that they weren't like his, loyal pets from when he was a child, but this is the MCU we're talking about. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the comic books, and that's okay. They didn't drive on his chariot. Instead, they ended up pulling a boat because New Asgard has now turned into a tourist retreat. But I'll get to that in a second. So anyway, they get back to the Guardians ship, and there's all these distress calls, and one of them is from Lady Sif, and she's like, Thor, where are you? We need you. And so he's like, all right, I must leave you. You guys go your separate way. I'll go my separate way. And the Guardians are basically like, bye, nerd. We don't need you. See ya. Everybody else will see ya in December for the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Thanks. And they're out of the movie. They are not important to the rest of the film at all. It was literally just to catch you up on their own continuity that they left you off at, which I felt was great. They literally could have just had Thor doing his own thing, but instead, they patched that up. Thor goes to Lady Sif. She's missing an arm, and she's like, "That's fine. I'm dying and going to Valhalla." And he's like, "No, the battle's definitely over. Let me take you back to New Asgard." And they tuck her away safely until the next movie. After that, but on their way back, that's when Gore shows up to New Asgard, and he's unleashing all of his badass demon fucking shadow monsters, which I thought was pretty cool. They did a lot with the special effects. In fact, there was only one moment where I thought to myself, this is some crappy CGI. and that is Jane Foster as Thor. After they move on from the battle, they have a little bit of catch up. Gore steals the kids, so they decide, what are they going to do? They're going to go to where all of the gods are hanging out, and they're going to raise an army of gods to go against the gods slayer. That's the most logical thing. I mean, especially in my mind, I felt like it was a good way to go. Cram as much in, but they're walking down the street, and Jane flashes her helmet on with her magic powers, and it just looks so terrible. I hope they fix it, if at least in home release after the theater. But other than that, the CGI in this was pretty fantastic, pretty spot on. There's a hilarious joke before any of the action even gets going in Omniland, or whatever they call it, Omnipotent. It's cool. It's where all the gods are. But Korg's like, oh, maybe my god's here. And sure enough, he is. And he's silly as fuck. And that's the best part, is that Korg, no matter what, will add to the comedic relief. But they go, and there's this whole big dais of all these gods, and Zeus shows up, and he's, oh, I'm Zeus. I'm Zeus. Everybody love me because I'm Zeus. I throw lightning bolts. Hey, he's not quite Elvis level of hamming it up, but it's pretty. It's Russell Crowe, loving himself. So Thor basically, he's like, "Who's talking? I'm Russell Crowe. Nobody else talks. Who's talking?" And then Thor's like, actually, Korg was like, "Hey, it was this guy." Shut up, Korg. So, Thor kind of put a spotlight on him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm asking for help. We need gods to go fight the God Butcher." And Zeus is like, "No, we're safe here. He's not going to show up here. We're not going to die if we stay here, because he's totally got the Necroblade and can and will kill us. So no, that's dumb. And since you're here and you know where here is, and you're trying to go find him, we can't let you go. You're going to stay here and party. You can't come to the orgy. We're going to stay and party." So that's when this big old fight breaks loose, and Zeus actually throws his lightning bolt through Korg, who starts to fall apart. And at that point in time, it was kind of quiet in the theater, and I couldn't help but yell, "You fucker!" My friends who were sitting in different spots, were like, "Yeah, we didn't hear you, but I definitely said it a little bit louder than I meant to." Like I said, I love Korg, but his face survives, and they pick him up and get on out of there. Thor actually catches Zeus's lightning bolt on the return and throws it right through him, which is pretty neat, So Zeus is no more by the hand of Thor, 4x4. But they get out of there without any help, but they do have Zeus's lightning bolt, which Valkyrie now wields, because Thor's got his big axe, Stormbreaker, and Jane has Mjolnir, which, oh man, Mjolnir, the way that they utilized the broken Mjolnir for Jane, I thought was fantastic. Yes, it's put together, but it's literally held together by lightning magic. So she can throw it as Mjolnir, or she can make it shotgun out the individual pieces. And she kills a couple of shadow monsters by shotgunning out the things through them. And I think that's very neat. Very fantastic. I thought the way that they did that was super. So yeah, they figure out where the kids are, because Thor talks to Heimdall's son, and he's like, "Hey, do you know how to use your eye magic?" And he's like, "I don't know how to use my eye magic." And he's like, "Cool, well, let me teach you how to do it." And he space travels there. He's like, "All right, they're going to eternity," which is really cool, because they finally get there, and eternity looks exactly like the comic book Eternity, which is definitely something that they did. They definitely tried to go with more comic book accurate appearances of characters. Jane Foster Thor looks exactly like comic book Jane Foster Thor. Thor looks exactly like one of the iterations. I thought it was pretty cool, because his outfit, because he first walks up and he sees another Thor, and he's like, "I'm Thor, I'm the best Thor," and he makes his own new costume out of his lightning magic, and it looks definitely more Guardians-esque, to show that he had spent some time with the Guardians, but it was pretty cool. It's definitely more spacey, cutting edge technology as opposed to ancient armor. I thought that was pretty neat how they did that. But yeah, I mean, they do a really good job at making you feel for the characters. And there's this whole thing where Thor and Jane kind of like reconnect with each other, and they both admit that they were wrong. And then Jane's like, by the way, I've got stage 4 cancer. I'm dying. I went to go get the hammer because the hammer was the only thing that was going to help me. And Thor's like, oh, sucks to suck. Let's make out. And then later on you kind of find out that the hammer was legitimately like keeping her from healing. It was making her strong, but it was also preventing her from getting better, which is a definite caveat in this film. Womp womp. So they finally get to where the kids are, and there's statues. Before the Hall of Eternity, and there's some Celestials. There's the Uatu the Watcher. There's a lot of really cool things. One of them might have even been Galactus. I don't know. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of shadows. But one of my friends was like, "Did you see Galactus?" I was like, "No, I didn't see Galactus." So I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I literally just walked out of the movie a little bit ago. So this is only after one watching. There's a little throwaway joke before they get there, though, that Korg's talking about how his species mates. At this point in time, he's literally just a face, right? So he's talking about how they're all men, and they go and they hold hands in a volcano, and eventually that pressure makes another child. I don't know if that's ever touched upon in the comics, but I thought that was a nice little flavor to add to it. So they go and they get there, and they're on this planet before they get to Eternity, and Gore fucks up Jane and Valkyrie. And Valkyrie is actually out of the fight for the rest of the movie. She gets skewered by the lightning bolt. And Jane gets kind of, conquered by her own cancer, which is not good. So that happens. It's bad. Thor goes to fight him by himself with the lightning bolt and Mjolnir, and he imbues all of the kids with temporary powers of Thor. So what you get is the scene of all these children with different pieces of statues that they found. One kid's got a teddy. There's this awesome scene where this little girl is spinning around with a teddy bear, shooting lightning out of its eyes. Oh, seriously. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're watching this video, but if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. One of the funniest moments in the whole film. It's fantastic. I absolutely love that. They fight Gore, which I felt like that whole thing was drawn out a little bit too much, but you got to have your big action scenes. I don't know. Maybe it's because I had to pee the whole time. I drank my drink a little bit too quick in this movie. But no, I keep saying and I need to stop. So they fight Gore. Gore opens the big hole. They don't beat him. So Jane actually succumbs to her cancer, which made me very, very sad. She turns into the gold god glitter, and she's dead. But Gore gets his daughter back, and then he's like, "Thor, will you take care of my daughter?" and then dies. So which sets up for that very touching scene where Thor's being a dad. He's making her pancakes, and they go and they're going off and protecting planets and stuff. And the end is done by another Korg monologue, and he's talking about how they call them Love and Thunder, and that is actually where the title of the movie comes from, is the little kid who gets brought back with god powers, and she actually wields Stormbringer because Thor's got Mjolnir again. I feel like it's a very happy ending. Korg actually regrows a body, meets another one of his race named Dwayne, and they go to have a kid in a mountain, which I thought was very cute. It's just something you didn't expect to happen. Korg's like, "By the way, I grew my body back. I met a man called Dwayne," which looks exactly like Korg, but with a drawn-on mustache. Fucking hilarious. I laughed way too hard. And then you've got the two end credit scenes, which if you didn't catch the end credit scenes, well, this is the spoiler review. So who's stopping me from talking about it? The first one is Zeus talking, clearly the lightning bolt didn't kill him. He's still alive. And he's talking to Hercules. Well, you find out it's Hercules at the very last second. He's talking about how gods aren't feared anymore. Nobody calls for the gods' help anymore. People just want their superheroes. So he sends Hercules. And let me tell you, I have no idea who this dude is that plays Hercules, but they made sure to make him look exactly like the comic book, Hercules, which is perfect. That's what they need to do more. They need to make more of the characters look more like the comic books and not their interpretations of them, man. I feel like it translated very well. Old Loki from Loki, the one that looked like the comic book version, loved it. The WandaVision episode, not so much. Those were crappy Halloween costumes, but it was still a very nice touch. I definitely feel like they should try to make them look more like the comic. Moon Knight. There was nothing wrong with Moon Knight's costume. Just saying. I'm getting a little bit off track here. But the other end credit scene had Jane waking up at the gates of Valhalla and Heimdall, hey, yay, Heimdall, welcoming her to Valhalla because, she warriored enough. She perished in battle. Fuck that cancer. You get to be one of us now. Thanks for taking care of my kid for me. And I felt like that was very much needed because I was kind of upset and sad that they were like, hey, let's bring Natalie Portman back. Let's give her some muscles. And then she dies. But hey, it's cool because now she's not dead. She's in Valhalla dead, which means something can happen. Maybe Thor dies in the next one. And he goes on a quest to make it back and brings her with him. Anthony Hopkins can come back. Heimdall's back. Shit. They can do whatever they want. But anyway, I've talked about the whole movie. It's been enough time here. So if you listen to the whole thing, thank you. I appreciate you for coming to the domain today to talk about our spoiler review of Thor Love and Thunder. I liked it. Like I said, my non-spoiler review, 5 out of 5. Definitely did good. I know a lot of people didn't agree with me when I talked about Doctor Strange, but those people weren't loved or held enough as a kid. And I'm sorry about that. But I thought that was a very fun movie. I definitely enjoyed a lot of things about it. I definitely enjoyed a lot of things about this. This movie was definitely made for the everybody, a lot of Easter eggs. Whole lot of Easter eggs. Especially the statues and background people. They blow a hole in the citadel of all the gods into Eternals, turn around and look through, oh, hello. Yes, we all saw, or not Eternals, Celestials, yeah. We all saw Eternals, and that movie sucked. In fact, after leaving this one, we were referring to Eternals as that time that me and my buddies all took a nap at the movie theater together. The most expensive nap, because we all saw it in IMAX. Best part about it was the end credits, not going to lie. But I didn't do a review about that one, so I can't really talk about it. This has been the review for Spoilers review for Thor Love and Thunder. 5 out of 5. Definitely. Can't wait for that to come out again so I can see that at home in my own comfort. Probably do a Thor 1, 2, and 3 marathon. Or this is the 4th one, isn't it? Holy crap. I always forget about the second one. That one wasn't that great, huh? Well, this one makes up for the second one. So does the last one. I like Ragnarok, too, even though they kind of stole from Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, and I really wanted that to happen as its own movie. But who knows what they're doing with that? I actually have no idea what the next movie is, but I will see you there for that. And as always, keep watching the domain. My name is Josh Thunder Shaver, and I'll see you either on our Twitch, or if you read one of my articles, or any of the other videos or podcasts that we do. Just stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming for you. I will see you soon. And remember, as I always say, I'll be right back.